Sa bawat issue may anggulo at ang balita ay agenda.
Panahon na nga ba para limitahan ang oras ng mga bata sa social media? Kailangan na rin ba ng total ban sa video games?
Lalo na po itong si CICL alias na ay heavily influenced po ng online content.
Bumuhos ang paghihinagpis sa libing ng Ateneo student athlete na si Rene Baterbonia.
Nope, Gen Z is not the faint-hearted generation. Period.
There's another! Four more gunshots, guys!
Ang tanging sigurado lang, ekonomista ang napupusuan ng Pangulo.
Aabot sa 3.9 billion pesos ang recorded total inflow transactions ni Ko.
Because at BNC, young minds mean fearless question, the freedom to chase the truth wherever it leads. This generation doesn't just follow the story, they challenge it, they investigate it, they demand better from it. This is brave, this is bold, this is beyond what you think they are. BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
Welcome back to Business 360. I'm Apa Ongpin. Calls are growing for the government to suspend fuel excise taxes as another round of big-time price hikes looms next week. Ches Sulit reports.
Motorists and businesses may have to brace for another round of sharp fuel price increases next week. Based on the first 4 trading days of the Mean of Platts Singapore or MOPS and foreign exchange averages from July 13 to 16, the following pump price adjustments are projected. Diesel may increase by up to 10 pesos and 50 centavos per liter, and gasoline may increase by over 4 pesos and 50 centavos per liter. The renewed hikes are adding to the growing cost pressures already faced by consumers and entrepreneurs. Jetty Petroleum President Leo Bellas says that global oil prices remain elevated as tensions continue to escalate between the United States and Iran, with fears of further supply disruptions. The risk premium in the oil market also increased following Iranian attacks on commercial ships, followed by retaliatory U.S. strikes on Iranian military assets. Prices were also pushed higher by a sharp decline in vessel traffic through the strait and the U.S. naval blockade of ships traveling to and from Iranian ports.
Now, the signals are a bit leaning on the possibility na umakyat pa, no? Especially now that there's another threat from Iran that in the event that the power industry or power network of Iran would be hit, they have asked for Houthis or the Yemen to block the Red Sea, which is another outlet actually for oil, no?
Despite government assurances that the country has enough fuel supply, Bellas explained that adequate inventories only protect the Philippines from physical shortages. They do not shield consumers from higher international prices as the country remains dependent on imported crude oil and refined petroleum products. The Department of Energy earlier said the Philippine National Oil Company will hold off on further emergency fuel purchases for now. Energy Secretary Sharon Garin explained the global supply chain is currently functioning. The Philippines previously procured 4 diesel shipments totaling 1.12 million barrels. Meanwhile, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry said the expected fuel price hike would add to the series of cost increases already weighing on businesses. PCCI Vice President for Trade and Industry Brian Ang said businesses are already bracing for several problems hounding the sector. These include the 85 peso minimum wage increase in Metro Manila, the weakening peso, higher raw material costs, and possible increases in electricity charges. Ang said small and medium enterprises are particularly vulnerable because they cannot easily pass on higher operating costs to consumers.
Ang negosyante, maraming pain points pa rin. Diba? Ang dami niyang gastos in addition, not just wages, kuryente, fuel. Diba? Tapos ang problema, hindi ka naman makapagtaas ng presyo kasi yung demand side, wala naman pero yung consumer to fund any increase in prices.
Amid the expected price surge, both Bellas and Ang called on the government to consider suspending excise taxes on fuel. Ang also called for some form of financial or tax relief for MSMEs, noting that targeted subsidies should also reach business owners and commercial transport sectors. The projected pump price adjustments may still change after the final trading day of the week. Oil companies are expected to announce their official price movements on Monday, ahead of implementation on Tuesday, July 21. For Business 360, Che Sulit, Billionaire News Channel.
The Energy Regulatory Commission extends the suspension of electricity disconnections for another 3 months. Power distributors across the country remain barred from cutting off electricity service for unpaid bills covering the August to October billing period. Customers will also be allowed to pay their bills through staggered payment plans. The ERC says the extension is meant to shield consumers from power cutoffs as electricity prices remain high. Shipping activity in the Strait of Hormuz remains low as tensions between Iran and the United States persist. Maritime data showed only 13 commercial vessels passed through the key waterway on Wednesday, about 1/10 of normal levels. Some analysts said actual traffic may be higher as some ships may have turned off transponders or tracking devices. The White House said Iran continues to engage in talks with the U.S., but accused Tehran of violating a recent agreement by attacking commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. insists the strait remains open for non-Iran-bound vessels, with the U.S. Navy monitoring the area.
Iran very much continues to talk to the United States of America and express that they want to make a deal with us because they are suffering devastating blows on behalf of our United States military. The reason, and this is important for the American people to understand, the reason for the recent strikes over the course of the last several days is because Iran violated the Memorandum of Understanding that we struck with them. Specifically, in the Memorandum of Understanding that they signed, they were not to fire on commercial vessels moving through the Strait of Hormuz. And unfortunately, they have made the tragic decision for them to do that.
The NBI is pushing back against claims that its probe into the 2019 Southeast Asian Games is politically motivated. Andrea Salve reports.
National Bureau of Investigation Director Melvin Matibag has defended the agency's fact-finding probe into the 2019 Southeast Asian Games, saying he was surprised by Senator Alan Peter Cayetano's reaction, even though he did not mention the senator by name when he announced the investigation last Tuesday. Matibag also denied that the probe is a form of intimidation against a senator judge after Cayetano questioned the timing of the NBI